Something's shifting in Chicago, and if you don't stick around till the end of this video, you're gonna miss the 3 biggest Bears stories of the week. First, a rookie who's breaking out and might flip the entire offensive scheme. Second, a center who just manhandled one of the league's top defenders in a one-on-one battle nobody saw coming. And third, a safety who's only been here 2 weeks and is already bringing a level of energy this defense hasn't had in years. Let me tell you this, if you think the Bears are still the same team from a month ago, you're dead wrong. Stick around, because we're breaking down each of these stories, and when we're done, I want you to hit the comments and tell me which of these 3 players is gonna be the most important for Chicago's future. Smash that like button right now if you believe we're finally seeing this team's true identity. And hit subscribe, because tomorrow we've got even more explosive news you won't want to miss. Let me start with something I've been saying for weeks now. Luther Burden III can't keep being a secondary piece in this offense. And it looks like Ben Johnson is finally hearing what everyone in Chicago already knew. After the win over the Giants, Johnson came out and said something that got me fired up. You've seen his rep count go up. He's starting to get more targets. It's a trust level between the coaches and the player. It's a trust level between the quarterback and a receiver. And that's trending upward. He's been really productive when the ball's in his hands. And there's a strong case to get it to him more. Let me ask you this. How many times this year have we seen Burden get the ball and not do something special? I'd say almost never. The kid's got 16 catches this season to 122 yards and 1 touchdown. But here's the key. When the ball comes his way, he catches it. Against the Giants, 3 targets, 3 catches, 51 yards, 100% efficiency. Now compare that to what happened with Olamide Zaccos in that same game. 6 drops by the team, 4 of them from Zaccos. I'm just saying, if you've got a vet dropping for passes and a rookie catching everything thrown his way, who should be on the field more? Here's the interesting part. Burden played 33 snaps in Week 10. That's 49% of the offensive plays. Zaccos had 39 snaps, 57%. That gap is closing, folks. I think in Week 11 against the Vikings, we're gonna see a shift in that rotation. But you know what excites me the most? The chemistry between Burden and Caleb Williams. I'm telling you, it feels better than what Williams has with DJ Moore right now. And I'm not saying Burden's taking Moore's spot, that'd be crazy. But what I am saying is this kid needs to be on the field way more than he's been. Think about it. Burden was a 2nd-round pick out of Missouri, where he was an absolute star. He's got speed, hands, field vision. He's exactly the kind of explosive weapon Caleb Williams needs to take this offense to the next level. And Johnson admitted it. There's a strong case to get it to him more. Let me ask you, how often does a head coach come out and basically admit a player needs more chances? That doesn't happen often. That tells me those conversations are already happening behind closed doors. Now let's talk about what this means for the future. The Bears already have DJ Moore as a clear WR1. They've got Keenan Allen as a reliable vet when healthy. But Burden brings something neither of those guys has: explosiveness after the catch. This kid can turn a 5-yard grab into a 25-yard gain. That's the difference. I think what we're gonna see in the second half of the season is a steady increase in Burden's usage. It won't be overnight, but week by week, he's gonna get more and more. And by the time we hit the playoffs, if we get there, Burden's gonna be a key piece of this offense. And you know what else I love? Burden's not out here complaining. No drama. He's just taking every chance he gets and letting his play do the talking. That's the right mindset for a rookie, but here's my concern. Why did it take this long to get here? Burden's been showing these skills all season. Why are we only now seeing this uptick in usage? I'll tell you this, sometimes coaches fall too in love with veterans and don't give the young guys enough chances. I hope that wasn't the case here. Here's the reality. The Bears need every weapon they've got if they're gonna compete in the NFC North. The Vikings are playing lights out. The Lions are still the Lions. Even the Packers, with all their issues, are still dangerous. Chicago can't afford to leave talent on the bench, and Burden is pure talent. Folks, this kid's got everything you want in a modern NFL receiver: speed, athleticism, reliable hands, football IQ. Now he just needs the reps to prove it consistently. Let me ask you this. How many of you yelled at your TV when Zaccos dropped that 4th pass? I know I did. And I know a lot of you were thinking the same thing I was. Why isn't Burden out there instead? Well, it looks like Ben Johnson is listening. And that gives me hope that this team is willing to make the adjustments it needs to win. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're a 10-year vet or a rookie. What matters is who gives you the best shot to win on Sunday. Win on Sunday. If that surprised you, wait till you hear this. Because what I'm about to tell you is about a player at a position that almost never gets credit. But on Sunday, he did something incredible against one of the best defensive players in the entire NFL. I'm talking about Drew Dalman, our center, and his battle with Dexter Lawrence of the Giants. Ben Johnson said before the game that the Giants' D-line would be the toughest unit his offense had faced all season. And he was right. Dexter Lawrence is a beast, folks. 3-time Pro Bowler, widely considered one of the top 2 defensive tackles in the league. And 99% of the time, he lines up right over the center. So what did Dalman do on Sunday? He dominated. Johnson gave Dalman his flowers after the game. And rightfully so. That was definitely a matchup we were watching. Doesn't matter who your center is, and we've got a good one. That's one of the best nose guards in football. He lines up over the center 99% of the time, leans in, gets his hands on you, owns that neutral zone. Strong player. I think Drew did a great job all day. Let me hit you with the numbers, because numbers don't lie. Lawrence finished the game with just 1 pressure on 33 pass rush attempts. Against the Bears, 1, and his run defense grade from Pro Football Focus? 51.0. That's below average, folks. Now check out Dalman's numbers. Overall offensive grade of 72.2. 5th highest on the team. Run blocking grade of 73.5. 3rd highest. And here's the kicker. Sunday was Dalman's 4th straight game without allowing a single pressure. Longest streak of his career. Let me ask you, when's the last time you heard someone talk about the Bears center? Probably never, right? That's the nature of the position. If you're doing your job right, nobody notices. But when you mess up, everyone sees it. Well, Dalman's not messing up. In fact, he's playing the best football of his career right now. And I think there's a reason the Bears jumped to sign Dalman to a 3-year deal. When free agency opened in the spring, Johnson made it clear at the Combine to help Caleb Williams the best way possible. I think we need a strong presence at center. A smart player who can set the table in the run game and pass protection. That's exactly what Dalman's been for this team. Yeah, there have been some snap issues, I'm not gonna lie. But in terms of pure blocking, this guy's been a rock in the middle of the O-line. Now let's talk about the context of this matchup. Dexter Lawrence isn't just good, he's elite. This guy wrecks offensive lines every week. The Giants build their whole defense around him because they know he can dominate the point of attack. And Dalman, a center most people outside of Chicago don't even know, went out there and shut him down. I'm telling you, that's the kind of trench win that decides games in the NFL. You know why the Bears were able to run the ball effectively in key moments against the Giants. Dalman, you know why Caleb Williams had time to make plays in the pocket. Dalman, you know why we were able to execute that final play to win the game. Dalman. But here's what really impressed me. Johnson mentioned they tried to help Dalman with guard play as much as they could, but not on every snap. Which means there were plenty of moments where Dalman was one-on-one with Lawrence, and he won those battles. Let me ask you, how many centers in the NFL can say they dominated Dexter Lawrence in a game? Not many, folks. Not many. And this matters for the Bears' future because the NFC North is loaded with physical, talented D-lines. The Vikings have a solid front. The Lions have Aidan Hutchinson when he's back. The Packers always have quality defenders. If we're gonna compete in this division, we've got to win in the trenches. Dalman's giving us that. And he's doing it consistently. Now, I know some of you are thinking, but what about the snap issues? And you're right to be concerned. There have been some bad exchanges between Dalman and Williams this season. But I'll say this, that's something that can be fixed with time and reps. The chemistry between AQB and center doesn't happen overnight. What you can't teach is Dalman's ability to block elite players like Lawrence. That's natural talent mixed with technique and effort. And Dalman's got all of it. Ben Johnson was right to give Dalman his flowers after the game. That kind of recognition matters, especially for guys in positions that don't get much spotlight. Dalman deserves that credit. People need to know he's playing at a high level, and I think this is just the beginning for Dalman. This guy's entering his prime. With a 3-year deal, he's gonna be the Bears center for the foreseeable future. And if he keeps playing like this, he's gonna be one of the best in the league. The truth is, building a strong offensive line is key to success in the NFL, and with Dalman anchoring the middle, the Bears have a cornerstone in place. Now they just need to keep building around him. But that's nothing compared to what's coming next. Because what I'm about to tell you is about a player who showed up just 2 weeks ago and is already flipping the entire identity of this defense. I'm talking about CJ Gardner-Johnson. And folks, this dude is exactly what the Bears needed when Chicago signed Gardner-Johnson. There were legit concerns. This is a guy who's had issues with other teams, burned bridges, got a rep for being hard to manage. But Ben Johnson took a chance, trusting that the strong locker room in Chicago could handle it. And let me tell you, this gamble is paying off big time. Johnson said it best after the game. Now he's here with a group of guys backing him. He's grateful for the opportunity. That gives you a deeper sense of appreciation. He's always been a phenomenal football player. I think he's found a good home here in Chicago. Our guys are feeding off his swagger and playmaking ability. I think he's quickly becoming one of us. Let me give you the numbers, because they're flat out wild. In just 2 games with the Bears, Gardner-Johnson has 3 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 15 total tackles, 12 of them solo. 3 sacks, folks. That already puts him 3rd on the team, ahead of guys like Dayo Odeyingbo and Grady Jarrett. To big money free agent signings on the D-line, but you know what's even more impressive? It's not just the stats. It's the energy he's bringing. In the first quarter against the Giants, Gardner-Johnson came flying off the right side on a blitz and sacked rookie Jackson Dart for an 8-yard loss. But his biggest play came in the 3rd quarter. Dart had been killing us with his legs all night. Runs of 20, 30, even 50 yards. It was frustrating to watch. Then on a 2nd and 6, Dart took off for 7 yards. Looked like another easy first down. But Gardner-Johnson wasn't having it. He made contact, ripped the ball out of Dart's hands, and gave it right back to the Bears' offense at a crucial moment. And listen to what he said after the game. I got tired of him running the ball. So that was it. I made a play. No disrespect. It's just irritating when he's breaking off 20, 50-yard runs and you're playing great coverage. So I had to find a way to get off the field and get the ball out of his hands eventually. Let me ask you, when's the last time you heard a Bears player talk like that? With that kind of confidence that I'm gonna make the play we need attitude? I don't think we've had that since the Roquan Smith days. That forced fumble lit a fire under the whole defense. And even though the offense didn't cash in with points, something Caleb Williams said was a big regret after the game, the defense only gave up 3 more points after that play, and Gardner-Johnson sealed his monster performance late in the 4th quarter when he sacked backup quarterback Russell Wilson on 3rd down. That stop gave the ball back to the offense and set up Williams for the game-winning drive. Johnson summed it up perfectly. I love what CJ brings to the table right now. You feel him out there. He's a football player. He loves to compete and he's around the ball a lot. I think we all appreciate that, but here's what really gets me hyped. The energy is contagious. Other guys on that defense are starting to play with more fire, more edge. Gardner-Johnson is raising the level of everyone around him. And I'm telling you, that's exactly what this defense needed. We've always had talent, but that spark, that fire, that nobody's gonna push us around attitude, that's what we were missing. Gardner-Johnson even said it himself. It's just a blessing to be here. Like I said, I was at home for a month and a half, and there's scrutiny. But when you're around a great group of people, a great group of coaches who believe in you, I think all that goes out the window when they can see the person. Then you come in and just adapt and adjust and go out and make an impact right away. The humility, mixed with that competitive fire, that's the perfect combo. And the Bears had the guts to make this signing when a lot of other teams probably passed because of his reputation. Let me ask you, how many times this year have we seen the Bears front office take a risk like this? Not many. Usually they play it safe, go with the proven vets, avoid making waves. But this time, they went bold. And it's working. Now let's zoom out. The Bears have a defense that, on paper, should be good. There's talent at every level. But before Gardner-Johnson, something was missing. That vocal leader. That guy who's in your face demanding excellence. Gardner-Johnson is that guy. And the whole defense is feeling it. Dennis Allen, the defensive coordinator, knows Gardner-Johnson well from their time together in New Orleans. Allen knows how to use him, how to get the most out of him. And that familiarity is speeding up the process. But here's my question. Why did we wait so long to make this move? Gardner-Johnson was available for a month and a half. The Bears clearly needed help in the secondary with all the injuries. Why the delay? I think the answer is the front office was worried about his rep, about the issues he's had elsewhere. But in the end, talent won out. And I think that's the lesson here. Sometimes you've got to take calculated risks on talented players with baggage. And so far, that risk is paying off huge. The truth is, with Gardner-Johnson on the field, this Bears defense looks completely different. There's more energy, more communication, more explosive plays. And that's exactly what we need if we're gonna make a playoff push. Because let's be real, the NFC is tight this year. Every game matters. And having a guy like Gardner-Johnson who can flip the momentum of a game with one play, that's priceless, I'm telling you. CJ Gardner-Johnson might end up being the most important defensive pickup of the entire season for the Bears, and that's saying a lot considering all the moves we made in free agency. So there you have it, folks. 3 stories that are changing the narrative around the Chicago Bears right now. Luther Burden demanding more reps and Ben Johnson acknowledging he's earned them. Drew Dalman shutting down one of the league's best defenders in a straight-up battle. And CJ Gardner-Johnson bringing the fire and energy this defense desperately needed. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these 3 players do you think is going to have the biggest impact the rest of the season? Is it Burden with his offensive explosiveness? Dalman protecting Caleb Williams and opening up the run game? Or Gardner-Johnson transforming the entire defensive identity? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I think all 3 are crucial, but I want to know what you think. And speaking of Burden, should he be getting more snaps than Zacho's after what we saw Sunday? Or do you still think the vet deserves more chances? Let me know. With Dalman, do you agree he doesn't get enough credit for what he does in the trenches? Or are the snap issues too big to ignore? I want to hear your take. And with Gardner-Johnson, should the Bears have signed him sooner? Or was the timing just right? And do you think he can keep up this level of play the rest of the season? These are the conversations we need to have as a Bears family. Because that's what we are here, a family. A community of passionate fans who live and breathe navy blue and orange. And if you want to be part of this family, if you want to stay up to date with all the biggest Bears news, you need to subscribe to this channel right now. Because I promise you we've got more explosive updates coming tomorrow. The season's heating up, and every day brings new info you can't afford to miss. Hit that like button if you believe the Bears are finally finding their identity. Share this with other Chicago fans who need to see it. And turn on that notification bell so you're the first to know when big news drops. Remember, in Chicago, we don't play around. We're the city of the monsters of the Midway. We're the city of legendary defense. And with players like Burden, Dalman, and Gardner-Johnson giving it everything on every snap, we're reminding the NFL why the Bears are one of the most storied franchises in this league. Bear down, family! I'll see you in the next video with more exclusive updates on our beloved team. And don't forget, you're the reason I do this. You're the reason this channel exists. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. And let's keep growing together as the most passionate Bears community on all of YouTube. Bear down. And until next time.